Hi, Daryl reporting for Razor TV, and we're here at Singapore Poly to find out exactly how do overseas study trips work and what exactly do students learn. So from the States to Japan, we're going to get up close and personal with the students and lecturers to find out what they have to say. Follow me. Okay, I'm here with Faisal. He's a lecturer at this DDM. Tell us a bit about your profession.
Lecturer in digital diploma in digital media in school Singapore Poly.
Tell us a bit about the course in general, like overview.
Well, the students here learn about the digital media. I mean, they can branch out into different areas like interactive application, computer generated effects, CG for short, 3D animation. Yeah, these are the three that they can choose. After that, they can look for jobs in things like concept artists, CG, matte painters, even directors if they are up to the par. Creativity is an important aspect of it. Technical know-how is also important, but overall they need to be flexible. If let's say they are faced with constraints, they need to know how to work around it. Actually, we have a lot of hand in local film and advertisements and government bodies. For example, we have been doing things for Asian Civilization Museum, National Day Parade. We have a lecturer who actually works in Infinite Frameworks for Sing to the Dawn.
Okay.
Yeah, we are teaching them Maya, and for CG effects, we are teaching them things like Mesh Mover. And usually we focus our tools on what the industry is using, so we update ourselves as often as we can.
Okay, now that you've heard from Faisal, let's go meet some of the students. Not only are they updated with cutting-edge knowledge, but they've also recently returned from an overseas trip in Japan. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Esther Zheng.
Okay, Esther Zheng.
Yes.
What is your specialization and where are you from?
My course is actually digital media, which I do things like Maya and filming.
Okay.
So it's like a combination. But for my own interests, I'm actually more towards 2D animation and 2D drawing.
2D drawing, so like hand-drawn, is it? Or digital?
Both.
Both, huh?
Yeah, actually
Okay.
I did hand-drawn first, but later, once I found out that Wacom exists, so I did digital drawing.
So you do the tablet and all that lah.
I'm now doing my final year project, which consists of both 3D and 2D. So I'm now doing the 2D animation part.
How long more before your submission deadline?
My submission deadline is about early next year, like around February.
So how has the trip to Japan affected your work now?
Well, I find that their work there is really very high quality, and I really respect their dedication and passion, because I go there see them, they draw all the colors are it looks like digital coloring, but they actually did it all by hand. And I was very surprised because they had such passion that they do everything by hand manually.
Yeah. Do you think that that's the way Singapore should go in terms of like how we?
But I think that now that the time has passed already, so it's like a bit modern age, but I guess that sometimes to be traditional is actually very different, very unique. But I think both are to be respected lah. Yes.
Okay. So how has that affected your work though? Have you started hand drawing and self-coloring a lot of things?
Well, I decided that I'm going to aim for the level.
Which level? What level is that?
Like, the very high standard, high quality, and they always strive to improve themselves. Yeah.
Okay. Name me one life-changing experience in Japan.
Life-changing experience.
While you were there, was there anything that
Well, I guess it's their fashion lah. Cause I'm very interested in costumes and character designs, their clothes they wear. And when I go there and see, I find that I get a lot of inspiration from what they wear, from their culture and the way they dress and the way they express themselves through the clothes.
Okay, so has that changed the way you dress?
Well, sometimes more. I dare to dress more boldly, more daring in my dressing from now on.
Okay, so through this course, like you went overseas and all that, you realize that there's some insights from the Singaporean psyche that you made, right? Like you were saying that you were discussing like how when you wear like odd stuff, that people tend to stare at you and all that.
Yes. Because in Singapore, it's become normal that you wear everyday clothes. So it's like when suddenly you see something out of the ordinary, then people find it very weird and they stare at you, and they think, why is this person wearing such weird clothes in Singapore, a hot country?
Yeah.
Then you're wearing a lot of layers with weird clothing and combinations, and they find it very weird. So they can't really accept this kind of thinking here in Singapore. I guess it's different in Japan.
Okay, what's the weirdest thing you ever worn in Singapore?
I guess it's something like called cosplay, where you dress up as another character from either a game or a show or anime. Yeah.
So where will you be in 10 years' time?
10 years time, I guess I'll be a character artist.
Character artist?
Yep, drawing characters for games or making costumes for real life people. Yeah.
Okay. I'm here with Le-En. Okay, tell us a bit about yourself, Le-En.
I'm actually a CG student in Singapore Poly under the Diploma of Digital Media. What I basically do is just visual effects like fire, water, things that you implement in a film to make it more realistic and to achieve effects that normally people can't do, like explosions. You can't expect like a whole set to explode just for one shot. So basically we did fire in software called Maya. Yeah, it's a very good software to use, very user friendly. And
Okay,
then
you're year what?
year 2, currently year 2.
Year 2. Okay. So how long has it been since you came back from the Japan trip?
The Japan trip was September, so it makes it like 2 months ago.
2 months ago? Okay. How was it for you?
Well, I really enjoyed the trip to Japan because it was really an eye-opener experience. I always wanted to go to Japan since I was young. So when I found a poster posted in school, then I was like, oh, I have to go. I definitely have to go. So basically, I didn't care what my parents did. I just borrowed money from them and then went to Japan.
Oh, you just went there. So what are the highlights of the trip for you?
The studios were interesting, but personally, I like the shopping mall.
Oh, personally like the shopping mall.
Yeah.
You were saying a bit, like previous to this, you were saying a bit about like culture. It was a kind of a shock for you. Which parts were they a shock?
A shock.
As in like, you were saying that you went through like the everyday lives of the Japanese and then,
Well, I find that the Japanese people are very polite. Yeah, very polite. I mean, they basically queue for MRT and then when they say thank you, they actually bow.
Yeah.
So when I was in Japan, I can't help but feel like I need to bow to them as well. One time we actually went to this train station to go to another place. Yeah, then so as a typical Singaporean, I actually went straight to the door entrance and waited for the door to open for me to rush in.
Yeah.
But then I found out that nobody was standing beside me, so I basically looked behind and then saw everybody was queuing in one line. So I was like so embarrassed, I just went to the back of line. They actually queue for MRT. I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Okay. So you were saying that what are the highlights of the trip besides shopping? Do you learn anything that was like affecting your work?
Well, Studio Ghibli's was quite interesting because for me as a CG student, I work with computers practically all the time. So Ghibli Studios had a more traditional approach. They did all their movies like mostly 90% hand-drawn. They only have one lab for computers, which is mainly used just for editing and compositing. So everything else was hand-drawn. That was quite amazing.
How many artists did they have?
Well, if talking about movie production, they actually hire other people from other studios to help. But I think mostly around 50. Yeah, at most, at one time 50.
Okay. So how has that affected your work in the sense that like when you came back to Singapore, do you do anything differently?
Well, I started to see traditional work as very much more important than I used to think it was. I used to think that the digital work is better, but I believe that there are some things that digital can't achieve.
Can't replicate,
can't replicate. So a traditional approach is sometimes better.
Okay, have you started doing like drawing freehand and all that?
Well, actually, since young, I actually draw anime. Yeah, I draw manga. So when I went to Japan itself, I see their quality of work is so much different from Singapore's. Even though Singapore has very good artists, Japan, the quality of work is much higher. I see from their schools. So basically, I was inspired to do better. So I practice more at home for myself.
So in 10 years time, where will you be?
Despite being a CG student, I actually like drawing more in terms of digital work. So I suppose that maybe I plan to go to Japan and find some work there.
Okay, I'm here with Rix. He is a
Riggs. I'm from Singapore Poly, CG option, year 2 students. Yep.
Okay, so Riggs, what made you decide to go on this trip? Tell us a bit about the trip. What it's about.
Basically, I'm a CG student, but actually this trip is planned for 3D student. But then, because most of my friends are 3D options, so I want to go along with them to have fun. But in fact, through this trip, I also benefits a lot from this trip. Yep.
Okay, so where do you guys go?
We went to Tokyo. We went to a couple of studios, and then their school like Ghibli Studios, Yoyogi Animation School, Nippon Engineering School, and Polygon Pictures Animation.
Okay, so you're saying you're a CG student, right?
Yeah.
So what do you deal with primarily?
For me as a CG student, I do visual effects short films for us. Yeah. So we also do digital matte painting. Yeah. Through this trip, right, we went to explore what they do. Like for example, Ghibli Studio, they did a traditional approach of doing animation. So for us, we are digital matte painting student, whereby we did it digitally. So in fact, we get inspired from that.
Okay, so like all these people are actually doing hand drawn, which is more traditional.
Yeah.
Okay, but the thing is that everything is moving forward with technology. Do you think that for Singapore to get more creative, we need to go back and sort of start hand drawing? What do you think the future lies in?
For me, because I'm more towards production stuff. So I think it's fine because Japan has their own style of doing 2D anime, which they are very good at it.
Yep.
Yeah, they are. For us, we cannot compete with them because we really didn't focus on this area for us. So if you are really interested in that kind of thing, I suggest that we should go Japan to do a study for that. But then for me, I don't suggest that we should go back to hand-drawn stuff. But then actually that's the foundation for it. Everyone will go through. Like for us, primary school already start doing drawing, but for them, they do much more tedious stuff than us. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you take away from your trip? What do you learn?
I learn because for them, I think they are very workaholic and they are dedicated to their work. So they
How
are.
many hours do you think you work a day?
Because we went to the trip, they also mentioned that sometimes if they are at the peak of the work, they sometimes need to stay over there and do overnight.
So like almost 24.
Yeah, then
20 hours?
not somewhere around there, but they are very workaholic, I should say. Yeah.
So do you think that you will ever be like that?
No.
Are you glad that you're in Singapore?
Yeah.
Okay, so you went there, you learned all these things, and you came back. So how has that affected your outlook or the way you do your work?
More passionate with my stuff. So I'll be like trying to do better from what I can. Yeah.
Do you think the people in Singapore are as competitive as the people in Japan? So in terms of animation and of CG?
I think very hard to compete because their 2D animation is really good, because their drawing is really very, very good. That's why very hard to compete. Yeah,
so if you mentioning something like eye-catching the other time about Studio Ghibli and the roof and all that.
Oh yeah, because Studio Ghibli, we are very, very fortunate that we are able to visit the studio, because local students in Japan, they also cannot visit the studio. So for instance, their studios, they have 2 studios. Then one studios have a roof for their artists. If they need to do like references of drawing clouds, they went onto the roof and then they draw there. So it's very interesting as their studio is being built in that way.
Okay, what are the other titles that Studio Ghibli has produced?
For instance, Spirited Away. Newly released, they just finished another animation, Ponyo on the Cliff by the Sea.
Ponyo on the Cliff. Okay, there's one dude that they produced, right? This fat thing.
Sorry?
This is round.
My Neighbor Totoro.
Okay, so that's their famous stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so have you bonded with your group when you came back? Like the group that you went there with?
Yeah. That's why we have already decided to work together for our final year project. But actually, we are already very close since year 1. We are year 2 now, so we are very good friends. So we went to a trip to have fun, to learn together, and then get back. We are now stick together for doing our final year project together also. So it's very beneficial for us.
Okay, where will you be in 10 years' time?
For me, because my interest is doing filming and then do production, so maybe in future I would like to work in this area.